Very cool. Okay, so we're going to get started. I am super excited today to discuss essays for graduate school. So today we're going to have two simultaneous discussions on the statement of purpose for your graduate school application, or the essay cover letter kind of package from our summer research essay. So again, welcome. We're so excited to have you here in our GradTrack program. I'm really thankful you guys could take the time to join on and build this bigger community of graduate students. So before I jump off, again, I just want to do a friendly reminder that we have a GradTrack action pack. So that is a PDF that is attached to many of our emails, and this has the topic for each week, any mentor or mentee assignments and actions, and then also your mentor actions. And friendly reminder that some of these assignments, you can get credit for your GradTrack trophy. So it's really important to log on to your Microsoft Teams for GradTrack and your private circle channel and upload any of the assignments that you have there so that we can keep track of them and make sure you're getting points as part of the GradTrack trophy. So another friendly reminder that at the very end of your GradTrack action pack, there are different questions that you can use to ask regarding the discussion for each of our themes for our sessions. And for the GradTrack trophy, you can earn different points for your team. And you earn points by coming to the meetings themselves, by submitting your assignments, and by meeting one-on-one with your GradTrack mentors. You can report kind of your mentor meetings through the Qualtrics link on the GradTrack action pack. And the winning team gets something a little extra special at the end of the semester, and of course, bragging rights. And you'll get put on our website with lots of fun team kind of spirit. So, and a friendly reminder again that we're calculating GradTrack team points. So every person in your circle can earn points, but we recognize that our circles have anywhere from 3 to 6 people in them. So we're normalizing points per circle by the average number of points per person. And not the drum roll yet. Again, all the assignments are located on the GradTrack trophy assignment sheet that is on the Microsoft Teams. And this is the drum roll. Circle 11 is currently in first place, but it is really close, guys. And we are only 25% of the way through this GradTrack program. So there's still plenty of time for folks to catch on up. So I just wanted to, again, friendly reminder, stay engaged, keep doing assignments, keep coming to our sessions, and keep meeting with your mentors to try to earn more points and really get the most out of the GradTrack session. So today, the agenda for today, we are going to move into like I said, into a discussion on do's and don'ts or insider tips of different essays for graduate school, either your statement of purpose or essays for summer research. We're joined by two really excellent people and experts in those areas. So we have Professor Raj Gounder, who actually is a professor in our chemical engineering program, and he's actually been serving as a chair of our graduate admissions committee in chemical engineering for the past few years, and he recruits also for chemical engineering graduate programs. And then we're also joined by Maeve Drummond-Oakes, who is the Assistant Director for Education in our Chemical Engineering Research Center. And she manages not only our the Research Experiences for Mentors, or REM program, which is a partnership with CSTAR, the Research Center, and NSBE SEEK engineering programs. But she also really is an integral person kind of running the research, summer research for undergraduates through CSTAR, through the Chemical Engineering Research Center. So we'll take about a half an hour to talk about these two essays. Then I will bring you guys back and we will do assignments and wrap up. And then I will send you back into your circles where you get to discuss and go through different questions and talk with your mentors. And then around 8:30, I'm going to dismiss you. You can leave directly from your breakout rooms. I will not pull you back. You guys can wrap the conversations and leave directly from your breakout rooms. So mentors, please feel free to dismiss from the breakout rooms. So what we are also going to do right before we jump into this discussion is I'm going to open up the breakout rooms, and I'm going to invite Lexi and Maeve and any students who are not actively working on their statement of purpose and who are exploring summer research and other opportunities, and students who are graduating kind of 2024 plus to join the summer research breakout room, which is kind of our bonus room on the breakout rooms. So I'm going to stop sharing. And if anyone has any questions about that, mentors, feel free to join kind of the area that your students are. So I think it's like circle 9 and higher are mostly all 2024 plus graduates. So any questions, you can unmute yourself or you can drop them in the chat. No? Okay, then I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. And again, any 2024 plus undergraduate students, please move into the bonus room. All seniors, please stay right here. Do not move. So you can just X out that, that box. So all, like I said, you can move to, and if you need help moving, let me know. But you should, again, click on the bottom button, the breakout room button, and move right on over there. So, and if we'll give them a moment to move, and then I will turn it over to Raj to kick off. And Maeve, let me know if you need a hand moving over as well. You should be good. Cool. Okay, let's give them a minute to move. And again, the only people who should be moving right now are undergrads who are graduating in 2024 plus. Perfect. So please do not join your other circle. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think most people have moved. If you are having issues, then please feel free to drop that in the chat or message me directly and I can slide you on over. And now I'm going to turn it over to Raj. So I'll let him kick off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me start by sharing the screen. And then going to full screen. Okay. Well, thanks for the invitation to be here tonight. It's really exciting to talk to the GradTrack group again, and great to see everyone on the call today. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about some tips and tricks or do's and don'ts when writing your statement of purpose. I think you've already had a lot of information provided to you about the statement of purpose, and so this is more of a kind of a, I guess, insider's look at it. I've been running the committee here for the last couple of years and reviewing applications for 10 years. So this is just sort of a collection of different things we've noticed on the review committee side of things. But feel free to interrupt at any point with questions. If you want to, unmute yourself and speak or drop a question in the chat, we can do that. But I'll kind of go through some of the things I had prepared for you in the slides here. So from our standpoint, we're really looking for 3 things for you to cover in your statement of purpose. First, why you want to go to graduate school and pursue a PhD or whatever degree you want to pursue. This is all geared towards a PhD SOP. The second is, how have your prior experiences prepared you for doing independent research? And prior experiences could be research, it could be projects, it could be otherwise. And then third, why do you want to come to Purdue or whatever school you're applying to? Importantly, we read the SOP very carefully because what we consider it to be is a large part of your application that's still under your control. You know, your grades, your transcript, your prior experiences, that's pretty much set in stone at this point. But what you choose to talk about and how you choose to talk about, and maybe what you choose not to talk about, can give us some important insights into who you are and how you might fit within our program. So some general do's and don'ts of the overall statement. We do like when you explain your story, including how you made your decision to pursue your degree, pursue your research projects or otherwise. including any hardships or other circumstances that you think is important for us to know. We also do like if you explain any aspects of your background that you think might seem like a weakness. Maybe there was a semester with lower grades than you expected. We like when you get into why that might have happened, so we don't have to sort of assume anything about the transcript. Some things that aren't that effective that we have seen in the last several years of doing this. A lot of times I think we all have the tendency to sometimes speak in platitudes, things like I used to play with Legos or build model rockets or take apart radios. That's great. But I think a lot of us have stories like that. But it doesn't really translate into maybe success in graduate school. So no need for that, cut to the chase and talk about some of the things that will get your application speaking about preparation for grad school. Talking about classroom performance typically is not that effective. We can read your transcript, and oftentimes we don't even look that carefully about certain grades you got in certain classes, because that doesn't necessarily translate into becoming a good researcher. And then try not to spend too many words writing about things we can find in other aspects of your application. Use it to really tell the story about yourself. So to some do's and don'ts about each of the questions. Why do you want to go to grad school and pursue a PhD? What we really like to see are things like this. I like to do independent research, or I'm interested in doing independent research over other things I could be doing. For example, maybe going into the industrial career or job market because I'm passionate about X, or I really like doing this. I like learning. Maybe I intern with a company and I learned that the position I really want at that company requires a PhD. Those are great stories to talk about your motivation of getting a higher degree. We have seen statements like this, but some don'ts are grad school is my fallback option, and so I want to apply just to see what I have in front of me. Or I don't want to commit a lot of time to grad school, so I really want to do a master's, but there's less financial support, so I just want to go for the PhD. No need to say any of those things in your SOP. What's prepared you for independent research? So be really specific. I can't stress this enough. Instead of talking about a project you worked on, talk about the details behind it. So on this research project, I learned about these techniques. Maybe I came up with this hypothesis. Everyone, I'm sure, has persevered through unexpected roadblocks on your project. So talk about it. The first idea didn't work, and what did I do to maybe read about the topic and come up with a different idea? The other thing is highlight key attributes of your researcher from any of your experiences. You may not have an undergrad research project or a prior research project, but anything that can be used to highlight creativity, ability to work in teams, be resourceful, persevere through roadblocks, communicate with your peers. Those are all things that are qualities that you're expected as a researcher. So highlight anything and everything you can there. Again, the opposite of that, try not to be generic. Working on a project where the goal was this, or listing achievements without explaining your contribution. So a lot of times we'll see something like I was a co-author on a paper, or I was a team member on this project. What's more valuable is explaining exactly what your contribution was to the study, so we can really clearly understand that. So be as specific and be as detailed wherever possible. Finally, why Purdue or School X? Really what we're looking for is that you've done a little bit of homework on our school. Is there a certain research area, a faculty member, a facility, a department, a center that really spoke to you as something that you'd like to be a part of? And mention other activities and initiatives that you're interested in. Maybe you want to come to Purdue because you want to be a mentor in the GradTrack program on the other side. Some don'ts, having a statement of purpose that's not really tailored to the school, or just mention something generic like a ranking. And we've had some kind of funny ones before, mentioning that you want to do a research with a retired or emeritus or non-research active professor. So look at the website and see who has an active research program. And then we've had more embarrassing ones, writing the name of another school. So someone was going very quickly and submitted their SOP to a different school, or put down a faculty member for someone that doesn't work at our school. So those sound like kind of obvious things, but we've seen that happen. So, double, triple check everything before you submit it in. With that, those are the highlights I had prepared. And I wanted to leave enough time here for open discussion to answer any questions you had or anything else you'd like to talk about. So I'll stop sharing the screen there and open up the floor for some questions here.
Awesome, thank you. So any questions? Feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your hand. It looks like Marco has his hand up. Feel free to unmute yourself, Marco.
Oh, wow. The lighting over here is a bit weird.
Oh, no problem.
It's not this dark, I promise. Thank you so much for this presentation. I guess my question is kind of pertaining towards how we explained some of the semesters where we didn't perform as well. So I consider myself a strong student now, but I am a non-traditional student, community college transfer. And before that, I kind of had a rocky past with school. And I've been kind of struggling. How do I really kind of best explain something that happened within a semester just because of a lot of personal circumstances without kind of going too in depth? I don't want it to be a sob story. I don't want to focus too much on that. I kind of want to focus on now, basically.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've seen a lot of SOPs where students will go into a little detail to a lot of detail. And really that is, I think, a personal decision about how much detail you want to go into. I think one thing you do want to do at the bare minimum in the SOP is acknowledge that you had a rough semester, and it could be all you have to say is because of a personal situation. The transition was rocky, but then once you got settled in, things got much better. That's all you have to say. Another thing that we have seen is if one of your letter writers is a very close mentor to you, you may discuss some aspects of your situation. Maybe one of your letter writers was a mentor that saw you through this transition, right? Sometimes details can be written about in a letter of recommendation if you'd like one of your letter writers to speak a little bit about your sort of navigation of that situation. But you really don't have to explain the specific nature of what you went through. That's your own details, that's your own story. But acknowledging that the transition from school A to school B. We've had, situations where, someone had to work a lot of hours to support themselves financially, support their family financially, a lot of health problems on their own, their family. We've heard a lot of different things. And, just state as much as you think you're comfortable with, but just acknowledge it. And I think explain that was a sort of one-off semester. It's lower than you'd like. And once the situation kind of got under control, you were able to do much better.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I did get a direct message that I'll read out without identifying the person, but one of the questions was what counts as low grades for the committees? For example, if there's a specific letter grade, if you see that on the transcript that needs an explanation, that's going to vary essentially from place to place, but essentially what we're looking for is something that's sort of an outlier on the transcript, right? So I think like Marco's question, if there is a semester or two that looks very different than all the other semesters, that's really what we're looking for. But if you have quite a similar performance throughout your time, you don't really have to call any specific attention to a specific semester. And if there is, again, if you did have a smattering of classes that are lower than you expect, again, that's not something you have to draw attention to. It's more, your overall GPA really got dragged down by one semester and there was just a personal reason that, happened, something like that. That's really what we're looking for.
Yeah, and I will comment that our central graduate school will actually not admit any students who have under a 3.0 kind of overall GPA. So it is really important to keep your grades up. I'm pretty sure all of you guys should have greater than a 3.0 GPA. So definitely keep those grades up. And if you do have something that's really low, you can certainly take a sentence to address it. So
yeah, exactly. And one of the things we do look at is reading more deeply into the transcript, because we do consider GPA. That is an important part of your application. But if you have one semester or two semesters that are really low, it may turn out that your, sort of GPA, if you threw those semesters out, would be much, much higher than the average. or your major GPA may be much, much higher than the average. We see that a lot, especially with students transferring in from another school where the first semesters and the non-major classes are just sort of that transition period, and the GPA is very high at the end, and that works in your favor. So just kind of explaining all those things will be helpful.
It looks like Kaylin might have a question. If you have had any teaching experience, would be worth it to mention that as well in your statement of purpose. It's not really research related, but looking kind of that overall kind of bigger package. If you're looking,
that's a great question. Yeah, great question. Definitely, if you have any teaching experience, is well worth mentioning. It also depends on your career goals. So one of the things I mentioned in the SOP we want you to address is, why do you want to go to graduate school? It may turn out that you want to go to graduate school because you want to get a degree and then work in research and development part of an industrial corporation, where maybe teaching is not necessarily part of your career plan. In that case, not necessarily, you don't need to mention teaching experience, right? But I think if you want to be a professor, or if you want to be a TA, for sure, right? That is the reason you want to go to grad school, and you've already prepared and had experience. You know what it's like. You got to talk about all of those things and really emphasize it. But there's no downside either way, right? So no matter what your career track is, part of the graduate school experience is teaching and mentoring formally and informally. So just explaining that you've been already experiencing that as a teacher in whatever role, tutor, peer tutor, mentor, formal TA. Those are all really good things to talk about.
Yeah, and I would chime in, if you're interested in being a professor, look at what resources the university that you're applying to has to support you in that journey by being a grad student. Like, for example, Purdue has this really cool program for graduate students called Trailblazers in Engineering is actually a future faculty workshop. So if you find that, and put that in your, statement of purpose, that's a reason why you're excited to attend a university like that, that shows that you've done your homework a little bit. So, yeah, that's another great option. Okay, and then there's a couple more questions in the chat. So, what are your opinions for how one can best approach the part of the statement of purpose where applicants are suggested to name a few PIs about who they might be interested in working with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the way I'd approach that is to try your best to do a little bit of research on the internet, whatever is available. So the department that you're applying to, if they have a list of faculty members or research ideas, picking out a few that work in a topic that is of interest to you. That's a good way to at least identify the right names. I think most departments are going to have a website with that information. If not, you may have to contact the graduate program director, and usually they'll have sort of a info sheet that explains the kind of professors that they have working in their department. But I would venture that all that information can be found online pretty easily at this point. And so just doing some online searching is enough at this stage. You really don't have to get into great detail about specific people you want to work for. Really, at this point, most departments, I'll say, like Purdue and chemical engineering, we recruit and evaluate students irrespective of who you feel like you'd want to work for. We just want to recruit you into the department. However, depending on your major, if you're in a different department of engineering at Purdue, or maybe in a different university, sometimes the application is evaluated alongside with the specific lab you want to join, right? So maybe one of the important things to try to find out as you go through the application process is, for the department you're applying to, are you applying into a general pool of students for the entire department, or are you applying to work for a specific professor at the time of application? So Jackie, I'm not sure if you went through those two distinctions already.
We had a little bit of a discussion about that, but I mean, bottom line, it's really important to really look at the program that you're applying to and figure out, is it an umbrella where you come in together, or is it like are you supposed to be reaching out to a faculty member?
Yeah.
Because if so, there like sometimes you can be like the top applicant, but if you don't have that faculty match, like you won't necessarily get admitted, even though you are a stellar applicant. So at that point, you really want to know what type of program these are so that you can reach out to faculty members directly. Yeah. Okay. I want to keep going because we got a couple more minutes. What makes a statement of purpose memorable?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the most memorable ones are they have a lot of detail in them. So whenever you write a sentence or a paragraph, kind of the advice I give is, would it be possible for someone else to basically write the same thing and have it describe them, right? So I think once you write your first draft, try to set it aside for a day and then take a look at the first paragraph. Can you find any sentences that you think someone else, on this call could have just as easily written to describe themselves? If so, that's fine. You're gonna have a couple of those. But can you try to find some sentences where you can really add a touch of detail that makes it personal to you? So the best statements of purpose are ones where we read the essay and we have a really good mental image of who you are as a person and a researcher, right? There's a lot of exquisite detail that kind of comes out. I think the other thing that makes an SOP memorable is when a student writes an SOP and really has a lot of good connection points to our school, so like to Purdue Chemical Engineering, then it makes us feel like you want to be here, right? If you've ever interviewed at a job, sometimes I think interviewers or recruiters may ask you, why do you want to work for my company? Same exact thing. Why do you want to come to Purdue? You have many choices, right? What's so special about Purdue that really just draws you to apply to our program? So I think those are the two things you can do to make it very memorable. I think sometimes we can tell if you write one SOP and you just you just have like one sentence that says, I want to apply to the university, and you just change the name, copy and paste, because there's no detail that kind of connects it to Purdue. So that's really what makes it memorable.
Yeah, one of your assignments coming up next will be to write and draft your statement of purpose, guys. And we have like a template, and one of the prompts is like, why this university? So yeah. That's a really, really important aspect. So cool. And I'm going to say one of our last questions, would I include any discussion of projects that were not research-based, but still shows leadership and creativity? For example, an entrepreneurial venture that I started with other students.
Absolutely. That shows a lot of excellent skills, including leadership, creativity, initiative, ability to see a complex project through completion. So absolutely talk about it, explain the detail, explain the role. I'll speak from my experience. When one of the first students I ever recruited at Purdue to work in my group is 9 years ago now. He had a startup video game company with some of his friends where they got together. They created their own video, they're computer coders. They created their own video game. He was able to start up a company, an entrepreneurial venture just like this, and explained all the things he did. And it was just very good how he explained it, the skills behind what he did in that project. So it doesn't have to be research. Any project that shows leadership, creativity, initiative, formulating, executing, and delivering a complex project. That's essentially what research is.
Very cool. Any other questions?
I have a sort of like a follow-up question on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like in a venture or like an entrepreneurship program, and let's say your project didn't go all the way through, like something just slowed things down and you quit the project.
Mm-hmm.
How can you explain that so that it sounds like it was a valuable experience and it was just not a waste of time, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'd say commonly we see that in research too. We get statements of purpose with undergrad research where the project hit a technical hurdle and they couldn't solve it, so the project stopped at some point. So what we're not looking for necessarily is evidence of success at the end. We're looking for the journey, because research is a lot about probably more failure than success, and we just want to know, how did you approach a time when you got challenged, or a time when you ran across a problem, or there was a hurdle? what are some of the things that you did to try to assess the situation, try to find a couple solutions, and maybe none of them worked out, but just kind of take us through one example of going through the process of discovery and learning and perseverance. And I think you can write a really good story out of that.
Very cool. That was a great note to end on, I think. So let's give a big round of applause, virtual round of applause to both Raj and Maeve for coming and sharing their expertise with us. Very, very helpful. And Raj, can I just get permission to share the PowerPoint? If you can just email it to me, then I can share that out with the students.
Perfect. I'll email it to you right after this and share it with everyone in the program.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, thank you both again. Thank you so much for your time. I hope the summer research breakout room went well. Yeah. Thumbs up, maybe. Cool. I see some nods. Excellent. Okay, great. So thank you again for your time, Raj and Maeve, and you're more than welcome to bump off the call. And we're going to jump into a quick in-between presentation. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Maeve. Excellent. Okay. So we will keep on going. This will be quick, and then we'll break out into breakout rooms again for your circle. So I'm going to take a couple minutes again to just describe your upcoming assignments for these next 2 weeks until we meet again. And then we are going to break out into the circles, circle discussions, where you can debrief a little bit more in depth on kind of the statement of purpose, either the statement of purpose for grad school or your summer research essay. So you can talk a little bit more about what we just discussed. And then I will let you guys again leave directly from your breakout room. So at 8:30, mentors, please feel free to dismiss circles directly from your breakout rooms. Okay, so by next time that we meet, you should plan to do a draft of one of your essays. So either your statement of purpose or your summer research essay. And on the Microsoft Teams, you can post that in your Microsoft Teams folder. And we also have templates that you can use to get started. So both for your statement of purpose and for your summer research essay or letter of intent, it can really vary based off the program. You're also strongly encouraged to start to identify a faculty member that can write you a strong letter of recommendation and ask them. For summer research, typically you need at least one letter of recommendation. And then for graduate school, you'll need 3. So start asking faculty now if you're, regardless of where you are in that process. Your t-shirts are also due today. So make sure that those designs are in and to Lexi, and Lexi will compile those and put them into a survey. And by our next meeting, please vote on your favorite. And then the cool part about that is that the t-shirt that receives the most votes will get printed and sent, and we will send you t-shirts. One caveat there, you cannot vote for your own. So you have to vote for a different circle t-shirt. So that will be coming up. And then before our next meeting on Monday, September 26th, there'll be a couple things for you to watch. And the discussion for that session will actually be following the Purdue Engineering Virtual Grad Showcase. So please feel free to hop on and attend at least one session of the Virtual Grad Showcase. That event also has an application fee waiver, so you can apply to Purdue for free. So definitely join in for the Purdue Engineering Virtual Grad Showcase. And then other announcements, I know Microsoft Teams has been giving some people headaches. So if you need any Microsoft Teams help, definitely reach out to Lexi. And then you will also see an email for me, any seniors or 2023 grads for the Graduate Diversity Visitation Program. Okay, so again, I'm going to open up breakout rooms again so you can move into your circles. Really important when I do that, anyone who is in our bonus room will get kicked back into our bonus room. So just open up that breakout rooms button and slide yourself into your correct circle if you happen to end back up in the bonus room. So I will stop sharing. Does anyone have any questions on what we're doing now? No? You can drop them in the chat, unmute yourself, Pretty straightforward. Do I get some thumbs up? Yeah, so moving into breakout rooms, having discussions, and then you can leave directly from your breakout rooms at 8:30. So, okay, so I'm going to open these guys back up. And again, if you get kicked into the bonus room, just slide yourself back to your correct room. So go enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. So perfect. Let me know if you have any issues moving over to your breakout room.